Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at BTC. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so we're still looking for the same possibilities here, that within this structure, we're looking for further evidence as whether we've completed this move into this high or whether we are still actually looking for continuation to the upside. Now, we were talking about the possibility of this being a 1-2-1-2, but we invalidated this by crossing this red line. So we're going to actually go ahead and remove that from our counts. Now, what we are looking for here is that we do have potential to still see this be a 1-2 and push to the upside. And what we would be looking for is something like this. Now, this would be very rare to have a shallow wave 2 like this coming back down into this 0.236, but this can sometimes happen if we start to extend. So we need to just be careful, and really until we take this low again, we could look for potential to actually push up directly. Now, what we could actually see if we are looking to push up directly would be something along these lines here, where we would be looking at this as potentially a wave 1, this is a wave 2, and then what we want to see here is actually see price start to react to the upside, forming a 5-wave move, and then starting to push up in this way, where we want to see this move come up towards the zone of this 1618 here at this 32,852 level, and that would be looking for this to then confirm as 1, 2, 3, and then what we need is a 4th wave and a 5th wave to continue this count as a 5-wave sequence. Now, the problem that we have here is that if we do get something like this as a 1, 2, and we only move up to this 1618 area, effectively the problem is that there isn't a lot of space here for this to form a 5-wave move. So this is making me think that it is unlikely, but we still need to be aware, for as long as we actually hold this 29,500, we can look for potential to actually see this continue to push to the upside. So we are right within that typical support zone. We did react off of this lower 0854 zone, and we have had a reaction to the upside. But now what we need to see is that if we are looking for this move to the upside in this bullish way, we need to hold this low, and I want to see volume start to increase as price starts to move up through these levels. We need to get back above this high here, particularly this 31,500, to get rid of that idea that this move can actually extend to the downside. So we need to just be very careful of that potential where we could see some extension down. Now, the other way we were talking about this is that actually we have completed into this high, and what we are looking for is the potential that this is A, this is B, and we're still looking for this corrective move to the downside. So there's a couple of ways of looking at these corrections. What we are looking for is a typical target box. So the most common one would be down here towards this 27,905 to this 26,084. But this higher target here is also of interest to me, this 29,699 to this 28,693. So that would be because obviously we do have some structure that's sitting within this zone. And even if we did move down lower here, we do have potential to find support lower down here towards this 0.382. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this if we do see price continue to push down here one more time, possibly a target. Now, if we're going to go into this count here, and we're going to be discussing what this could be, what we could see is one of these options taking place, where either this could be an A wave here, and we're still within this bigger B wave here. Now, we have already come up towards this 1-to-1, which is this 31,431. If we continue to hold this high, this could actually mean that we start to see price form a 5-wave move to the downside, in which case our most common target we'd be looking for would actually be this 29,112 to this 28,415. Now, if we are looking at this possibly as looking to extend down, it is also possible that this B wave could be here, and we could see this as A, B, and C. And this might not be a flat at all. It might just be a complex WXY, where we have this as 3 waves, 3 waves, 3 waves. So need to be on the lookout for this. If we get this as A, we come back up for B, and we get a C wave to the downside, potentially this would mean that we, instead of having a 5-wave move here, that we actually just get a 3-wave move, and it's just a corrective move. Same sort of target levels would be in play here. I'd be looking more towards this 1-to-1 here. Between this 1-to-1 and this 1382 typically would actually be our common zone that we'd be looking for as a WX and a Y. So going to have to keep an eye on this. If we do see price push down here one more time, potentially we could see possibly even a retest of this lower channel line here, but we'd have to keep an eye on it and see exactly how those waves play out here. Now, if this B is not completed, however, what we could see is something more along these lines, where what we get is this is an A wave, we get this as ABC for a B wave, and for as long as we hold this 29,500, what we could see is price start to gravitate back to the upside here in either a 5-wave move, in which case we'd be looking potentially towards this 1-to-1 for this 31,602, or it could actually be a 3-wave move, and this whole move is just actually, instead of A, B, C, W, X, and Y, making that bigger B wave here, looking for that possibility of having a bigger flat correction. So that's what we're looking for here. If we do get a push up here, these higher target levels, this 32,202 to this 31,909, are going to be particularly interesting, but we have already come up into this box, so I'm just being mindful that, you know, until we actually reverse and take this high, we could actually have something else going on here. Now, the other way we were talking about this move, if we aren't going to see this develop and we get this C wave up here, potentially what we could be looking for is something along these lines as even a possibility where this is W, this is X, this is A, B, and C, and that could be our Y wave down. Now, it is also possible that within this count, this could actually become an A wave. We get a 3-wave move to the upside, and then we see continuation down, and we actually look to push down deeper here. Now, we've pretty much come down towards this 1-to-1 already. Now, if we did see that possibility of a additional push down here, what we could actually see is price rather come down towards 29,013 to this 28,746. Now, that would align with the idea of seeing a 3-wave move up here, followed by that continuation down. So these would all be looking for that idea that within this count, what we're looking for is coming back down lower here and potentially looking to target out this 0.382 to this 50%. Now, it could actually develop into something else onto the downside here, which we're going to go over in a second, but we need to just be careful. You know, there is potential that we could have completed counts here, but only would we get confirmation by breaking back above these highs. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that. Now, what I'm being mindful of is within a lot of these, so like I said, this could be W, this could be X, this could be a Y, or alternatively, this could be W, X, this could be A, we get B and C. So within this count, what I'm looking for is looking at this as a 5-wave move, 1, 2, 3, triangle for 4th, 5th to the downside. Now, if we have something like this, what we need to be careful of is, like I said, until we actually break this high, we could look to actually reject from this zone here of this 31,106 to this 30,587 before looking for that possibility of continuation to the downside. Now, this could be a 3-wave move, in which case this 1-to-1 would potentially be towards this 29K level. But if we start to break down deeper here and we start to hit this $28,000 level, this could actually mean that from this high, what we have is 1, 2, this becomes 3, would get a 4th and a 5th. Now, this would look to bring us down into this lower zone here of this 27,755 to this 27,367. So this would be looking for a much deeper retracement here. And if we are looking at that idea of this actually being a flat correction here, that would mean that we would have actually come down much deeper than this 1618. And I'm going to just throw on the 2.618 here just to see where that would put us. If we did have to move down to the 2.618, that would actually be much lower down here towards this 26,669. Now, this would be not as common as a C wave target, but it can happen. It would have a lot of confluence with coming back into some of these lower levels here and potentially looking to retest this channel that we have lower down here. So I would be keeping an eye on that if we do actually see price start to break down in a deeper way here. So that is looking for the potential of this as a breakdown, treating this as a 5-wave move in isolation. You know, this was just done so that we can track that possibility that if this does start to break down deeper here, what we could end up having is that impulse. And now, once again, if we have that impulse, that could be this as a flat correction here. Or alternatively, we could be starting to get something else, and it wouldn't make a lot of sense trying to count this move up into this high and this being the first wave of a structure down. But nevertheless, we need to just be on the lookout for something like that. Now, the alternative that we were talking about here was actually looking at this move here as a 4th and then this as a 5th. So our typical zone we were looking for as a 5th wave was actually higher up here, this 31,900 to this 32,685. Now, the key difference between these counts is that what this would mean is that this 5th wave actually ends here, and then we'd be looking at this as an A wave here, and then potentially what we'd be looking for is this as a B and then a C wave to the downside. Now, If we do get something like this, where this is A, B, and C, and we look to push down deeper here, you know, possibly what we could be looking for is some of these lower targets. 121 would be here at this 29,142. We have the 1.618 down here towards this zone of this 28,169. Now, the key thing here is that if we are looking at this as a flat to start this move, what this means is this cannot turn into an impulse. So even if we did see that move down towards that 1618 level, we'd still need to just be aware that this can just look to reverse to the upside. Just because we hit 1618 doesn't mean we have to get a fourth and a fifth. It is likely if it starts with a 5-wave move, but within this case, because we start with a flat, this move can technically move down towards this 1618, and it wouldn't actually mean that we're going to get that guaranteed fourth and fifth. That's why we typically, when we get a 5-wave move and we see price do this, where we get 1, 2, we get a move down towards that 1618, we're looking for evidence of that fourth wave before looking to commit it as a 5-wave move. Until it actually forms, we just have 3-wave structure. So that's just something that we need to be mindful of. That, not just a general overview here. We're still looking for that potential on the bigger picture, that we could be looking at this as a W, an X, and a Y here, where we have this as W, this is X, and then we're looking for this Y wave to the downside. 1-to-1 would still be looking to bring us towards this 26,205. So if we did get something like this as a bigger flat correction, we could get a 3-wave move and then another 3-wave move down, something like this, looking to bring us back into these levels. And you know, I'm still being mindful that we could potentially see a 5-wave move down here off of this area here. The problem is, like I said, looking at these internals, it's very hard to count this as a completed move up into these highs using all of this structure here as a 5th wave. So it's hard to place this C wave from this point here. So we're going to have to keep an eye on it. I'm still going to be tracking it just in case. If we did see something like this as a flat, typically speaking, our target area would be this 25,067 to this 23,373, and then we also have this 1-to-1 sitting here towards this 26,174. So worth keeping an eye out on those levels. Coming in here and looking at the daily CPRs, what we can see is we are currently underneath these daily CPR lines. Now, if we fail to get control of these again, what this could mean is we could still see price be gravitated down towards this R1 at this 29,339. We have the R2 at this 28,763, and then we have these lower levels here of this 27,700 and this 27,133. Now, if we do manage to actually get back above these CPR lines, potentially we could look to challenge out this 30,975 level, which would be our S1 line. We do have the S2 at this 32K, the S3 at this 32,616, and the S4 at this 33,709. Now, the interesting thing that I'm looking at here, if we're looking for confluence within our counts, is that if we are still looking for that B wave to the upside, then these higher targets are going to be interesting. Alternatively, if we are looking at this as A and then looking for this B wave to the upside here, what we could actually see is that, you know, potentially within the structure here, we could look to reject off one of these levels where we're looking at this as an A. We look for a B wave to the upside and that C wave down. This S1 would be quite interesting because it would also bring us back up into the center channel line that we have here. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that if we do move up into those higher zones. Now, looking at the weekly pivots, what we can see is that we are not currently below these central CPR lines. If we do see price move back up here, potentially this could align with that idea of facing rejection here. If we're going to get this as A, this is a B, and then that continuation down. Alternatively, if we do see price manage to get back above these lines, which are sitting between this 30,389 to this 30,546, possibly what we could see is a retest of this S1 line up here towards this 31,433, and then we have these higher targets which would align with that idea of that bigger B wave here, where we're looking to move up towards this 32,245 and this area here of this 33,241 level to the upside. Now, if we do continue to break down, what we have is the R2 at this 28,687, and we have this R3 down here towards this 27,874 level. So those have some confluence here within this to actually a 382 retracement and a 50% retracement. So we're going to be keeping an eye on these levels as we see price actually move down if it does start to do so. Now, as well as that, what we can see here is that on the monthly, we did actually come back and we've bounced off of this top line here. So this top line is at this 29,691. If we do look at this as continuing to hold here, what this could mean is that we could see price actually start to be gravitated to the upside here. S1 line sitting at this 32,999. We have the S2 at this 35,542. And we have the S3 up here towards this 39,641. So those are some targets throughout this month. But if we do start to break down here, where we actually see this become A, we get that B wave up, we see that continuation down. If this is going to be an ABC, this 28,874 is going to be quite an interesting zone, as well as this lower level that we have over here, which would be this 28,000 on the head pretty much. So if we're looking for that idea, then potentially still looking for the option of coming down here into some of these lower levels, looking at this as a retracement. And then, you know, if we do start to lose these lower CPR lines here, then we do have that potential of that idea of that Y wave developing to the downside, where we start to look to target out this R1 at this 26,375. We have the R2 down here towards this 22,268, and the R3 all the way down here at this 19,742 level. So going to be keeping an eye on these pivot points as we see price move through here. We can move through these, we just need to be aware of that. But you know, typically speaking, we will see some potential, even if it's shorter term pivots off of these levels, so worth keeping an eye on. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It is free to join. Everyone, have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.